A creative writing teacher told me I should give up all hopes of becoming a humorist or a creative writer. But needless to say, the first time I heard an audience of people laughing at something that I'd written, it occurred to me that the woman was full of art gum erasers, you know.
Actor, writer, comedian Stan Freberg, today on Now I've Heard Everything. I'm Bill Thompson. Stan Freberg had so many hyphens behind his name, it's kind of hard to keep track of all of them. He was a writer. He was a comedian. He was a radio actor, a radio host. He was a voice actor for cartoons. He was in movies. He was on television. He was an advertising executive. He was a recording star. Should I go on? The kid from Pasadena, who displayed a sardonic wit from a very early age, created a creative life for himself, making a career out of making people laugh. And much of his work remains with us to this day. Now, in 1989, Stan Freberg wrote his autobiography, or actually part one of his autobiography. It was a book that he called It Only Hurts When I Laugh. Now, he arrived at our interview a bit bedraggled from an exhausting book tour, but his trademark wit was on full display, as you're about to hear. In just a moment, our conversation.
We're about to take a step back and listen to an iconic voice from our recent past. It's one of over 10,000 interviews noted radio personality Bill Thompson did over a 30-year span. We think you'll enjoy it.
So here now, from 1989, Stan Freberg.
This is Stan Freberg. I'm the author of It Only Hurts When I Laugh, published by Times Books, a division of the mighty Random House.
Maybe I'm just naive. I didn't know you were Swedish.
Well, I am.
I'm Norwegian.
You're Norwegian, is that right?
And I guess somehow that means we're not supposed to get along, but I don't understand.
No, I don't
why.
understand that. No. All the Vikings are supposed to get together, and my son is 17. He's really sprouting up there like a real Viking. He's 2 inches taller than I am. He's about almost 6'3" now. And he's the young man that's seen quite a bit these days on the Encyclopedia Britannica commercial on television. He's sitting there at the computer console. And I say to him,
there is something you could have which would help you a lot. Do you know what that is?
No, but I'm afraid you're going to tell me.
Yes, it's the new encyclopedia.
Great reading. I didn't give him that reading. He just came out of his genes or something. But anyhow, in Beverly Hills, most people think I'm Jewish, and I do nothing to dissuade them from that because I get very good service at Nate and Al's Delicatessen there. Of course, if they pick this up now by satellite, the gig is up.
Now, I usually have a couple of questions that I ask people who have written their autobiographies that you've already answered in your book. So
sorry about that.
Because one of the things I usually ask, which somebody had suggested to me was a great question, was, did anyone ever tell you that you couldn't make it, that you had no chance of success, that you might as well choose a whole different field?
Yes, indeed. A few people at the early part of my life told me that. One of them was a teacher, a creative writing teacher, who told me I should give up all hopes of becoming a humorist or a creative writer. She said my humor was too bombastic, was the word she used. But needless to say, the first time I heard an audience of people laughing at something that I'd written, it occurred to me that the woman was full of art gum erasers, and I never looked back after that. I just kept going forward. So the people that really believe inside themselves that they have a gift to give to the world in the form of writing or performing, any of the career, or being an artist, that is a painter or whatever. You just have to follow your dream. You have to keep moving forward, and remember that most of these people that try to discourage you are indeed full of art gum erasers.
It also occurred to me as I was reading your book that you really were in the right place at the right time.
Apparently so. I mean, that it happened a number of times. Who would believe that a guy that took the first bus into Hollywood from Pasadena when I was 18, barely 18, and got off the bus and walked into the first building I saw on Hollywood Boulevard, and there was a talent agent inside, and that woman would actually call up Warner Brothers Cartoons that moment and get me an audition the next day, whereupon I had the thrill of walking into a room full of animators and
What a
directors.
cast you walked into. I couldn't believe the names.
Yeah, well, I was behind a black curtain, and this man, sweet man at Warner's Cartoon, said, "Go ahead, Stan. This is Stan Freberg, gentlemen." And I was shaking, trembling. I thought, oh, my gosh, because I'd seen him all these hundreds of people painting on these cells, Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. Now I start to do all these various voices and material I'd written for the occasion. Even on the way in on the bus, I was still writing jokes. And I hear them all laughing out there. So I relaxed. Then I came out, and a man named Chuck Jones walked up and put his arm around me and told me he'd try to use me, and which he did many times over the next few years as a voice guy working with Mel Blanc. And then Bob Clampett was there and gave me encouragement. And then finally a man named Friz Freeling walked up, and he was the creator of, he's one of the fathers of Bugs Bunny also, but he created the Pink Panther series later. And he said to me, "Why haven't we heard of you before, Stan?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I've been around, He said to me, "Oh, well, I didn't mean that the way it sounded. I mean, I'm sure you didn't just get off the bus, So that chapter in my book is called appropriately, "What do you think? I just got off the bus?"
That's right. You even answered one of the questions that's been gurgling in my mind for a couple of years in one of your footnotes. I'd seen in the credits to Lady and the Tramp when I bought it for the kids.
Yeah.
The name Stan Freberg, and I thought, wait a minute now. I'm trying to figure out which of the voices is yours, and it turns out you're my kid's favorite character, the Beaver.
The Beaver. Yeah, talk like, say, that works well. I can't do the whistle today because I'm at the end of this book tour, and the whistle is the first thing to go on a book tour. I've talked to other authors. Say, "Oh yeah, the whistle goes first." Anyhow, the Beaver, of course, was a friend of the Tramp dog up at the zoo, and the Tramp told the Beaver that this was a log puller that he could have if he just gnawed it off of the lady dog.
To increase his efficiency by 66%.
Yeah, I got all those S's in there, and
I couldn't figure out why my kids were going around the house saying 66%, and then I realized it's the movie.
66%. Say, this works swell, yeah. Anyhow, Walt himself came down on the set when I was trying that voice, and he said, "I like that. Lock it in. That's great." And so he actually cast me in that.
Wow.
Walt Disney was a terrific guy. He was one of my idols, and I knew him casually because I would come over and do various voices for Disney from time to time.
But I have the opportunity to work with Disney and Mel Blanc and Clampett and Freeling
all these people,
and right on down the line.
Well, I was at the right place and at the right time. Apparently, at that time, they were trying to mix in other voices with Mel, so that it wasn't all Mel's sound. He has a very unique, distinctive sound in most of the characters he did, and I guess he was happy to have the relief of having another character to bounce off of. And so we did many cartoons together, playing two different animals.
Now, was it tough then to cross over into, we'll call legitimate radio from being cartoon voices?
Nah, not particularly. I mean, not to me. I mean, it was all work to me, and it was all using my voice. To me, there wasn't any difference between, and there still isn't, doing a voice for an animated cartoon, working on a legitimate radio show, or creating a Capitol record. It's all for the ear, which is to say, for the theater of the mind, which is what radio is, as opposed to so-called visual mediums like television and motion picture. Great mediums. I've worked in all those mediums, but radio is still my favorite because it's like literature. You can imagine anything you want to imagine. There are no limitations within the theater of the mind.
After this short break, why Stan Freberg didn't like to look back.
AI is not just for 22-year-old coders. A lot of us older adults are drawing on our life experience to find unique and creative ways to use AI, at home or at work. Got an AI success story you'd like to share? Tap the link below to visit our YouTube channel, AI After 40, and let's keep learning together.
1989 conversation with Stan Freberg.
I want to ask you a semi-serious question. Many, many people, including Larry King last night, have referred to you as a genius.
I know.
Do you think of yourself as a genius, or is that
Never.
Is that a burden?
Of
for
course
you?
not. Well, it's just kind of a semi-burden. I mean, I don't really like to think about that too much. Larry King said some really wonderful things about me on the Mutual Radio Show, as well as on CNN, where I was on live with him. And anyhow, I am called that quite a lot, and I just don't want to dwell on it too much. I never think about what I am. If you think about that, then you'll sink. The idea is to keep moving. Make yourself a moving target, you know. But no, I'm serious. I like Satchel Paige said, you know, don't look back, man. Something might be gaining on you. And I just I keep moving forward. I live in the future. I don't want to dwell too much in the past, but I had to dwell in the past enough to get this book written. But that's what a memoir is.
Now, see, you've even answered that question, because usually if someone comes to me, I think the last person I interviewed who was here for the part one of a two-part autobiography was Douglas Fairbanks Jr., and he's got a lot to put into an autobiography, and you have too. But he didn't answer in his book the way you did the question, which I guess I could have worded more diplomatically, but I was going to ask, why are you so pompous as to have a two-part autobiography?
Well, because, Bill, I couldn't get it all in one book. The thing is, well, we're just about up to 300 pages, and my editor said, come on, that's enough. Let's give me the manuscript. We're going to press here. You know, I just want to get this out in your lifetime, you know. So, actually, I felt that I had enough material to put into 2 volumes, and I didn't want to rush. See, this book goes from my childhood to about 1963 and ends with the advertising campaign I created for Stanley Kramer's wonderful movie, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And this follows my strange and somewhat painful experiences with the Broadway producer David Merrick. Anyhow, so having got all that out of my system, I felt I'm not going to deal. This is only 63. I'm not going to deal with the next 26 years in the next 100 pages. Forget that. So, I mean, I have at least maybe another 400 pages. But then it would have been kind of like a funny War and Peace, or you know, a more humorous Random House encyclopedia. So I thoughtfully have split it up into 2 books so that people didn't have to lug around this heavy book.
Will the next one be coming out soon?
As soon as I get it out of my word processor, it's about half done. And that's a question that my editor has asked me a number of times. Will we be seeing that second volume soon? And yes, you will, of course. I mean, I'm committed now, man. I'm gone on record, but I want to do it anyhow. Now I can really do all the things that were in the future from this book, as well as a few things that I left out in the previous book. For example, I talk about Norman Corwin, the great radio dramatist who was one of the people that influenced me, and he was on CBS mostly, and Columbia Presents Corwin, and he did a marvelous thing at the end of World War II called On a Note of Triumph. And I want to put just the first page of that script into the paperback edition of this book, so when we do the paperback, I'll add that and a few other things. Norman is a friend of mine today. He and Ray Bradbury and I are close friends, and we get together with a few other radio buffs. So about once a month, we sometimes meet at Ray's house, and next time we're going to meet at my house in Beverly Hills. And if you're out there, you're welcome to come by. Any people who really loved radio are always welcome to these meetings.
You must have an incredible library of stuff.
Well, Norman does, and Ray and I do too. My problem is if I could just find it. You know, I'm not too organized. Any archivists out there that want to come out and donate a few months' time to organizing me, boy, that'd be great. My wife does the best job she can. I live in this big, rambling Spanish house in Beverly Hills, and I have a very large basement, but it's insufficient for my memorabilia, really. So I don't want to be so presumptuous as to start a Freberg museum. I hate to use words like museums, because that's the stuff that's all gone before. I have so much to do that I want to do. I figure I haven't even started yet. Really, truly. The best is yet to come from me.
I was just, you anticipated. I was just going to ask you what, as you look back on your long career, what has been the high point? But I sense from the way you talk that the high point is tomorrow.
The high point is tomorrow. The high point is yet to come. Two areas, definitely, that I want to make a reality. One is I want to do my own kind of Woody Allen funny movie. And the other thing is I want to mount the stage version of Stan Freberg Presents the USA, and finally get that on the boards. And I sung here. Sorry, this from an author. Think of that. Maybe the creative writing teacher was right. No, I performed at the Kennedy Center on a thing called the Night of the First Americans, and the head of the Navajos invited me to sing, and I did take an Indian to lunch this week, and it was a beautiful black tie crowd of Washingtonians and Indian tribal leaders from all over America to raise scholarships for Indian students, and Lauren Green played the other part rather than Peter Leeds. He was there, and Martin Sheen introduced me, and I talk about that in the book, and it was lovely. Cheers from the crowd, anyhow, I said to myself at that point when I heard people cheering, hey, what are you doing? You kidding? Isn't it time I did this for real every night in the theater, the whole thing on the stage? And I just want to get that terrific high that I got from hearing that audience cheer again.
Is there any experience more fulfilling than knowing that you're doing something that you have a ball doing and you're getting paid for it?
And that people are enjoying what you're doing and thrilled at what you're doing. No, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. That's it. That's really it. And so anyhow, of course, I'll come through here, and when we do that, and probably play the Kennedy Center. So,
wow.
In the next year and a half, I swear I'm going to do this. Unless I get hit by a bread truck or something, or a New York Times truck. David Merrick, he was always worried that he was going to be run down by a New York Times truck. And he that's the one thing about David Merrick. Even though I had problems with him, he did love the work that I had created. And he said that he just wanted to see that on its feet one time before he got hit by a New York Times truck. But then the dark side of Merrick's brain took over then, and after that, and life was not so pleasant after that. Well, I talk about that in the book. You can ask me, is this the last interview of your book tour? You could ask me.
Oh, good heavens! Is this the last?
Yes, this is the last interview.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. This is it. Yeah, and it was really nice of you to put the microphone down on the floor here so that I could do this interview on my hands and knees. I just called this yesterday to the author schlepper who was dragging me around, that this must be the literary version of the Bataan Death March. And this is it, boy. But anyhow, it's all worthwhile, I guess, if I can get the book out there to people who will enjoy reading it. And I had a lot of fun writing it.
Stan Freberg died in 2015. He was 88. Now you can get your copy of It Only Hurts When I Laugh by Stan Freberg by tapping the link in our show notes, by clicking the link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or by going to our website, heardeverything.com. We may earn an Amazon commission if you make a purchase. HeardEverything.com is where you can also find my 1989 interview with the fabulous Chuck Jones.
So when he sent the drawing back to Bugs Hardaway, he put on there Bugs-Bunny. We were not terribly profound, but when we looked up and saw this thing and it said Bugs Bunny, well, naturally all the Catholics looked up and said, okay, God, we'll take it from here.
And my 1988 conversation with the legendary Mel Blanc.
They come up to me and say, hey, Mel, can you do a Porky Pig? And I'll say, please, not now. I'm buying stuff.
And of course, we post new episodes of Now I've Heard Everything every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can find us everywhere you find podcasts. And thank you so much for listening. Next time on Now I've Heard Everything, you know her as an actress. She was on Taxi for many years. But you may also know that she's also one of the few people in the world, fewer than 100 people in the whole world, with a condition called hyperthymesia, which means Mary Lou Henner can remember everything. So we'll revisit my 2012 interview with Mary Lou Henner.
Everyone, even the people who think they have the worst memory in the world, everyone remembers something exceptionally well. There is a huge range of what people remember especially well.
That's next time on Now I've Heard Everything. I'm Bill Thompson.